welcome back. Where we left off last time, we got the motor started. Everything is right with the world, except when I went to bleed the brakes, I couldn't bleed them. Every time I pressed it, it would just stick to the floor and nothing was really happening. So what I ended up, I took the transmission apart again, took it off, and I realized a mistake I made about 2 years ago. So when it lost compression about 2 years ago, I went to pull the transmission off, pull the motor and everything, and when I did that, it does have a pull style clutch, so you have to kind of press in on the motor and then separate this little clip before you can pull the transmission off, before it'll disengage. When I did that, I noticed there was a piece on the floor and it was broken, and at the time I didn't really know what I was doing. It was kind of my first real engine disassembly and the whole thing. So I saw it and I was like, well, I'll look at that later. Completely forgot about it. So what happens now is, 2 years later, I put everything together, get it running, and here we are. It's not engaging. I realized what happened after I pulled the transmission. It just didn't even click until now. So I had to order some parts. What I ended up ordering, this is one of the pieces that, this is the little part that slides and engages and locks it, that it slides into. But this ring right here is the part that broke 2 years ago that I completely spaced. So what you do, I actually bought a new one of these as well. This will actually lock on right here over that, and that's what holds the throwout bearing attached to it, which makes it the pull style. So once I install all these parts, or install these two parts, then I should be able to throw the transmission back in, bleed the clutch, and the car should be able to run and drive. So we're gonna go ahead and put all this together and hope for the best. Hopefully this is all it needs. Fingers crossed. Wish me luck. So how this thing actually engages is, here's your throwout bearing, your clutch fork. So it should sit, it sits and slides like this, right? So this will go on right there, and this will actually snap this to keep this into place. But it'll stay attached to the pressure plate, so it'll actually force this throwout bearing to stay in this position. And then your slave cylinder, when you press in the clutch, will actually pull it out, disengaging the transmission, excuse me. And then the pressure from the pressure plate and everything, when you let off the clutch, will drop it back into gear. So that is how a pull style clutch actually works. That's kind of the process. So I'm going to attach this and this onto the pressure plate, and then when you attach the transmission again, you'll push this throwout bearing forward and lock this into place, and then it should stay in this position until you press in the clutch. Alright, from here, I'm going to pop this guy on, and then swing it around back, and this thing opens a little bit, so I'm going to try to just slide this thing on without too much fuss, hopefully. And there you go. That's what holds it on. So when you go to clip this on, it's gonna come out like that. And when it goes, it'll lock into this and keep this up. This is the part you separate. And when you push this down, it actually opens up this little ring, which allows the throwout ring to disengage. So now we're just gonna go ahead and reinstall it. One thing that's important to all this is make sure you actually put this plug in here before you start taking stuff apart, or else this is gonna fall and a whole lot of other crap is gonna happen. It's not good. So make sure you have one of those. Just so you know, I'm only tightening these up hand tight, and then I'm gonna go and torque them behind me. Okay, now I'm gonna go back and torque these. So I'm using torque specs from Atkins Rotary. When I bought the rebuild kit, it actually came with a laminated sheet of torque specs for everything. So that's what I'm using. I'm sure you can find them online. This, according to them, it's 14 to 19 foot-pounds for the for the pressure plate. Alright, now it's time to put the transmission back on. I don't recommend doing this by yourself, but sometimes you do what you do. Maybe. Alright. It's a little too high to lift up like that, so what I'm going to do is probably lay down, drop this to the next level down, get a creeper and kind of throw it on that way. Take two. I may not film this next part. So that went much easier than I expected it to. Pretty much what I did is I dropped it to the lowest level, lowest safety bar, and then I bench pressed it into place. You know, for safety, I had the wife come out and just as a, if I need help, there's somebody right here. Luckily I didn't need it, but it's always good to err on that side. So, having said that, here it is. The transmission is put on. I'm gonna bolt it on and bolt the drive shaft, the brace, hook the clutch and everything, slave cylinder. All right, and just like that, as soon as I bolted the motor up at the top, because there was a gap there obviously, when I only bolted in the bottom one. So as soon as I bolted in the top, even got the bell housing actually flush with the motor. If you look, let's see if I can get this. I didn't film it because honestly I wasn't sure if it would work, but it snapped right into place. Let's see where we're at. If you look, the clutch fork is right there, right where it's supposed to be, clicked right in. So that's what we were looking for. So yeah, problem solved. We'll go ahead and bolt everything back up, start the car, and see if we can move it. After replacing that clip and the retainer, I bled the brakes again. I got everything back in, started bleeding the brakes, and check it out. Looks like we got a clutch that actually works. So, turns out if you actually put the right parts back, your car works. So I will do a startup. It's pretty late. My neighbors will be pissed. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a startup in the morning and see if we can drive it around a little bit. Throw the bumper, the hood and stuff back on and take it for a spin. So the time has come. We got the car started. Got the clutch figured out. So here we are. We're about to take her on our maiden voyage. It's not insured or anything. We're gonna go around the block, just kind of see if there's anything crazy, and see with it that's just that we missed. So wish me luck. So after the first drive, first time around the block, power steering doesn't seem to be working. The alignment's really bad. It seemed a little sporadic and jumpy, so I don't know, I want to take it out a little bit more. But nothing seems to be leaking. I need more coolant. The coolant light kept going off. So other than that, I mean, it spools fast. I don't know. It was pretty cool. Definitely something I miss. So yeah, more to come, but first drive is out of the way. I'm very excited. And having said that, I'll see you next time.